Hey, boss YouTube, what's up? How's it going? Have for y'all today the official first team builder of the UBL Season 2 for your Durham Druddigons. We're taking on JOEDOR, coach of the Seattle Seakings. His channel link and stuff will be down below for you guys to go check out, as well as a link to our draft analysis video if you guys may have missed what our team is, even though you can't see it below me. Find out why we have this disgustingly bulky team, and also go say what's up to all the awesome coaches that we have for this roster. So if you guys do enjoy this, make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below. I will most likely be bringing back the layout for the UBL. So if you guys are excited for that, then you will be able to see that in all the battles for this season, hopefully. So yeah, I think with that being said, we can just go ahead and just kind of dive right into this. Like, I don't really think I have too much to say outside of, let me know in the comment section below what are the 6 Pokemon that you would have brought to this matchup if you were us building for our opponent. So taking a look at the matchup down below. Also, if I sound a little bit weird, is because I am getting sick, and it's so weird. It's such a time to get sick because also apparently there's like a hurricane warning in North Carolina. Obviously by the time this goes up, hopefully I'll still have a house and it wasn't flooded and I still have my PC. So yeah, and also by the time this goes up, I did do the live stream along with JOEDOR, which is funny enough because we're both I'm co-hosting the live stream for the UBL with him, so I thought it was kind of cool that we're battling each other week 1. So thank you to everybody who did come out to that and showed your support for the Durham Druddigons. So with all that out of the way, let's take a look at the matchup here. So going into this game, Joe actually has a pretty good matchup against us. The main things I'm really worried about going into this game is, well, the main things I'm worried about are Tornadus, Zygarde, and Mega Houndoom. Zygarde just because yes, we have a Rizion and we have a Roserade. Unfortunately, Roserade is not exactly the best ground answer, just because it is part poison, and then Virizion is not exactly too bulky. So if Zygarde runs and Headbutt, that could be a little bit annoying. The good thing though is that he only has access to Groundium Z, so we don't have to worry about like Z, Dragon, Zygarde, which is gonna make this matchup a little bit easier. But Zygarde is really scary. I honestly expect them to bring like Banded Zygarde, because if we bring Unaware Clefable, then there's not really much that he can do to Clefable with Zygarde outside of I guess Iron Tailing, but even then that's not too big of an issue. Tornadus is super annoying just because it can have Taunt, Toxic potentially. That would be really annoying to deal with. He definitely needs to have U-turn because of our Gothitelle. Mega Houndoom is going to be very terrifying if I lose my answers to it, so I have to be very careful with that. And Ribombee is actually also kind of annoying because I am more or less forced to bring either Steelix or Talonflame. Just because if it is Specs or Quiver Dance, then it just kind of sets up for free, and that's really bad. His defensive walls in the bottom 5 mons really aren't that troublesome for us to deal with. If he does bring any walls to this game, then they're going to need to be Shed Shell, otherwise Gothitelle can trap them and set up on them, and that'll be absolutely amazing to us. I don't really expect Slowking or Nihilego. I don't expect double fairies with Ribombee and Florges. I definitely expect one or the other. Rotom, I really don't expect either. I don't think it necessarily has the best matchup this game. And then Komala, I guess, is kind of up in the air, but I don't see why he would probably want to bring it. I feel like the top 6 are like worst case scenario, and those are the most threatening mons that I think Joe could potentially bring to this game. So looking at our side of the field though, Gothitelle, of course, is a giant problem for him to deal with. Offensive Roserade and offensive Zapdos are also really good in this matchup, alongside potentially Calm Mind Clefable being able to set up and win if Gothitelle can trap and get rid of Bronzong and the Nihilego. Talonflame is also something that has a pretty decent matchup going into this game, so we need to try and cover his offensive threats and hope that Gothitelle can try and break down his defensive walls. So with that being said, let's take a look at our first team member here. Yeah, so as you can see here, we have good old Gothitelle, aka Michael. And of course, shout out to the front office homies. I did nickname most of my mons after most of the members in my front office and some of my good friends. Of course, you would know that if you saw the draft analysis video, so you guys should definitely go check that out. Again, it's down in the description. But we have Michael here, aka Gothitelle, nice and shadow tag. And the great thing about Gothitelle, as I said in my draft analysis video, is that it's a Pokemon that really affects how my opponent needs to prep, because if he doesn't have Shed Shell on his walls like Tangrowth, Bronzong, Florges, or Slowking, then Gothitelle just traps them, and I can honestly just use them as setup fodder, and there's a good chance that Gothitelle could get out of either of those exchanges at +6 special attack. And if I'm able to get Gothitelle to +6, not only can I beat that first initial Pokemon that I trapped, but I can also finish off a second team member depending on how healthy Gothitelle gets out of the exchange. And if he's not able to do enough damage to me on the special side or the physical side, Gothitelle might even be able to take down 3 or 4 more team members, and that in itself is absolutely insane. So the idea behind this Gothitelle set is to try and set up on one of his walls that cannot do anything to Gothitelle and try to get out of there at +6 and try to take down as many Pokemon with it as possible, which will hopefully be at least 2, maybe 3 or 4 if things go good in our favor. But between Psyshock and Thunderbolt, we hit absolutely everything for neutral and super effective damage, which is really great because it's going to make Gothitelle an absolute nightmare for him to try and deal with. I guess Gothitelle could also potentially be used as a type of mon that's just there to trap something and just weaken it and try to get rid of it initially. I kind of considered a Choice Scarf set, but unfortunately Gothitelle is not going to be hitting entirely too hard to really take advantage of a Choice Scarf variant or a Choice Scarf set. The Speed EVs are really the only Speed EVs that were specifically made. They are there to outspeed a potential speed creeping Florges. That way we can outspeed it every single time and have a much easier chance of beating it 1v1 and getting out of the exchange at a high enough amount of HP. The physical defensive E's just ensure that we can try and tank a Z ground or a Z-1000 arrows from Zygarde, and the special attack investment are just so Psyshock and Thunderbolt are doing a little bit more damage. And then with the Spadef investment, if he has something like Choice Specs for Bombi and he's not able to get him rocks, we can switch into that, trap it, Calm Mind once, and after we Calm Mind, there's no way he's going to be able to 2-hit KO us, and then we can start Calm Minding up and potentially use that as setup fodder. So that's pretty cool. And then stall out the Moonblasts and eventually get out of there with a lot of HP and taking down a potential giant threat. So yeah, hopefully Gothitelle will be putting in a lot of work. This is my first time ever using Gothitelle in a draft, and I'm very hopeful that it will be very, very good. So next off, we have a very interesting Suicune set here. We have a very speedy defensive set. The physical defensive Vs along with the HP Vs allow this to potentially be a switch in to Zygarde, like Choice Banded Zygarde if it needs to be. But for the most part, Suicune is here to deal with Mega Houndoom. Mega Houndoom is absurdly terrifying to try and take on, just because whether it's Nasty Plot or Sunny Day, it is going to be a giant scary threat to deal with. The defense EVs along with the Rindo Berry ensure that we are able to tank a Solar Beam in the sun. And the idea behind this set is to get up Stealth Rocks, then Houndoom comes in, it takes 25% from the Stealth Rocks, then we Bulldoze as we live a hit, lower his speed by 1, and with the speed EVs that we have, why is this level 100? That's really bothersome, but I'll worry about it later. But after we go for the Bulldoze, we'll put Houndoom at -1 speed, ensuring that Suicune is able to outspeed it, and then in return, at that point, Houndoom should be at about 50 or 49% HP. Even in the sun, with Brian's power being doubled, we will be able to guarantee knock out the Houndoom. Now, if for some reason he doesn't bring Houndoom, then this can spam Ice Beam, spam Toxics very effectively. Even if Suicune takes a little bit of initial damage, this can still be a very good answer to the Houndoom. So if this can effectively beat Houndoom and maybe Ice Beam like Tangrowth or Zygarde, or try to just spread Toxics around, then that in itself is going to be very, very good in my opinion. Ice Beam, I guess, also does hit the Tornadus. Bulldoze is also kind of nice for potentially a Quiver Dancing Ribombee, so we can stop it from speed boosting, and who knows, maybe that could really come in handy. But yeah, Suicune's more or less just kind of here to deal with the Houndoom, maybe kind of be a little bit of a pseudo check to the Zygarde and try and Toxic some of his walls to maybe make Gothitel's job a little bit easier. So our next team member here is going to be our main Zygarde answer. Now I know this sounds a little bit weird that we have Miltank as our main Zygarde answer as opposed to something like Virizion. Unfortunately though, Virizion just gets absolutely mollywopped by so much of his team, mainly Tornadus, Ribombee, and Houndoom, all of which have a solid chance of coming this game in my opinion. So I decided to go with physically defensive Miltank, and the great thing about Miltank in this match is even if he gets up Stealth Rocks, there is no way that an Adamant Choice Banded Zygarde ever 2 KOs us with 1,000 arrows. So my thought is that because he's going to look at the team and see that we don't have Virizion, then he's probably going to be thinking, alright, Banded Arrows basically just gets me a kill every single time. But Miltank can switch in, eat the hit, I can then Milk Drink off all the damage, and Ice Punch should be a 2 or 3 hit KO depending on what investment, what bulk investment he is running. And I think that's going to be really good. Even if he's something like Weakness Policy, we have some measurements for that, so I'm not entirely too concerned about that. But Miltank is mostly just here to deal with the Zygarde. If we're able to get rid of the Zygarde without Miltank taking too much damage, then we can also use this as a potential backup answer to the Mega Houndoom, which could be really cool because we could potentially Thunder Wave. That Seismic Toss I really felt was our best secondary offensive move, just because yes, he does have Rotom, but I really don't expect Rotom to come to this match, and it was either Seismic Toss or return, potentially Body Slam, but I figured Seismic Toss was going to be a little bit better just because we're still doing really good damage to Houndoom. We do more damage to the Bronzong, more damage to the Tangrowth, and I believe more damage to the Nilago as well. So the nice thing about this too is that if we're able to consistently just wear down Bronzong and Nilago, then that opens up the window for potentially Calm Mind Clefable to come in and win by itself. And then Thunder Wave is just kind of there to potentially spread around paralysis on Ribombee, maybe Tornadus, Houndoom, as well as potentially even the Nihilego. So yeah, for the most part, this set's just really here for Zygarde. The Citrus Berry is mainly there in case he does try to Dragon Dance and go for a Groundium Z, or maybe he just thinks that going straight for a Groundium Z into 1,000 arrows will be enough to knock us out. So we take the hit, get the Citrus Berry, and then we're completely out of range of whatever he wants to go for. Yes, a Choice Banded Outrage I do believe 2 KOs us, but if he locks himself into Outrage, then that gives us a switch into potentially Clefable or our next mon here, which is going to be our Steelix. So the nice thing about Steelix in this match is that with the Shuca Berry and the Ice Fang, this acts as an amazing backup answer to the Zygarde. Even if Zygarde gets to like +1 or +2, as long as he's not Z ground at +2, we basically always live 1,000 arrows, and then the Ice Fang does about 50 to 60% depending on how much bulk investment he has, thanks to the sheer force and the fact that it is 4 times super effective. But the main thing that I want Steelix to do in this game is to be able to ensure that Ribombee does not just come in and click Bug Buzz or click Moonblast. Crunch is also absolutely amazing for the Bronzong, because again, weakening Bronzong is going to be so huge in this game. And then Heavy Slam basically hits everything else. I don't want to try and put myself in a position of where I have Steelix in against Mega Houndoom, because obviously we don't have Earthquake, but hopefully I can avoid that scenario, and as long as he's not something like Substitute with a lot of HP investment, I think we should be fine, because between Crunch, Ice Fang, and Heavy Slam, we basically hit everything for very, very good damage. The Speed EVs are also going to be really nice for the potential Bronzong, because with this speed investment, we are able to outspeed non-speed EV Bronzong. However, though he most likely will have Gyro Ball on Bronzong, I still feel like it's nice to be a little bit safe. Plus, the speed also really helps against Slowking if he were to bring that, so maybe we can get off a last-ditch crit on, a last-ditch crunch on that, and it'll be a little bit easier for us to deal with the Slowking. So our next team member here, we have some nice little bit of speed control in Choice Scarf Zydog. Unfortunately, Scarf Zydog is not faster than Ribombee if he were to Quiver Dance, but that's where Steelix can kind of just come in and stop the Ribombee. As long as Ribombee is dealt with, Scarf Zydog here should in theory outspeed every single one of his mons, except for Choice Scarf Tornadus, which I really do not expect in this match. Now, because of Zydog alone, I really expect him to bring Tangrowth, and that's where Toxic comes in so handy, because we're going to be able to Toxic that Tangrowth on a predicted switch-in, and then it's going to be so much easier for us to deal with it in the long run of the battle. Between 1000 Arrows and Stone Edge, everything is hit for neutral or super effective damage, and Outrage is just there if we're able to get rid of his fairies or his Bronzong, or if we put Bronzong low enough, then we'll be able to knock that out regardless. But for the most part, I want to try and get rid of Tangrowth or just severely weaken it, so I can bring this in, click 1000 Arrows, or just use this as a very nice revenge killer for things like +1 Zygarde, Tornadus, Ribombee if it's not boosted, and if I need to use this to knock it out, and then Houndoom, as well as potentially being able to outspeed Scarf Nihilego, because this speed is specifically for Nihilego, and I guess revenging Rotom. I really don't think he brings Rotom to this game. And I guess Komala, but again, Komala is something I don't expect either. So yeah, again, I don't really expect his bottom row of mons, so I'm not really too concerned about them, but we still have measurements to be able to deal with them. So moving on to our final team member here, we have, of course, Clefable. I did bring up Clefable earlier in the team builder here, and this set basically just wins once we get rid of Bronzong and we get rid of the Nihilego. Because we are unaware, setup Zygarde will never be able to beat us unless he does have the Iron Tail, which even then, I'm not too concerned about that, because that might actually be a little bit easier for us to deal with, because he'd have to be like, I guess, Dragon Dance, Iron Tail, 1000 Arrows, and Extreme Speed. So then that means he can't touch my Milk Tank, so then Milk Tank can just have an easier time against the Zygarde. So then this set hopefully will be able to come in late game, Calm Mind, and win. Heal Bell is going to be absolutely amazing in general, in case he wants to try and spread around Toxics, maybe Paralysis, or he burns us with Scalds from Slowking or something along those lines. So the idea is to hopefully get rid of Bronzong and get rid of the Nihilego, and then Clefable basically just wins. This spread also really helps us take on a Nihilego if we get up a Calm Mind. If he's not Specs or Life Orbed, then after one Calm Mind, I believe that there's actually no way he can Toa KO us with a Sludge Wave, and then at that point we can use Nihilego as setup fodder, and then Clefable could potentially go to town. So yeah, there is a good chance that this set could potentially sweep him, which is what I'm hoping for, because we do have a very like bulky-ish team, but at the same time we have some good offensive measures to be able to deal with his offense in general. So yeah guys, that is going to be the team. Again, let me know in the comment section below, what are the 6 mons that you would have brought to this match if you were us building for our opponent. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below if you're excited for the week 1 of the UBL season 2. And with that being said, I will see you all tomorrow with the actual battle itself, if I'm still alive. So later, everybody.
No matter where you're at, I'm not here to make friends, it's time to attack and deplete your HP with a final smash. Don't make me turn around and pull a 6-foot hacks. 6 foot hacks, hacks. Yeah. 6 foot hacks, hacks. Yeah. 6 foot